more of an elite level, but you're not operating on a level playing field if you're not cheating.
That's right.
If you're not playing the behind the scenes games where you're getting into the pockets of these AAU coaches and the agents that are at these, it's such a dirty game, and everyone knows it. It's just this acknowledged fact. And if you're not stooping down to that level and cheating, you're basically putting yourself behind the 8 ball as far as the talent you're putting on the court. So,
you absolutely are. And when Chris Webber got plucked back in Fab 5 times, that's the big hot topic, obviously, with Juwan Howard being hired as the Michigan coach. Why do you want to associate? Well, like, everybody was doing it. They just happened to get caught. But that's part of the reason why that program has never really recovered until the last couple of years, because they had to keep their noses so clean. And, I remember, was it last year or the year before that the FBI did that big probe into the NCAA basketball and was finding people with payments and houses and cars and all that. And they were going after big programs and handing out fines and sanctions. And I remember they interviewed some of the coaches, and they asked Izzo, like one of the Detroit sports guys, like just happened to casually ask him about that probe and information. And Izzo basically said, I can't remember if he named names. I don't think he named names, but he said, you see these 5-star recruits, you see these top guys, you see these one and done guys. And I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically he looked at the camera and said, do you see any of them in Spartan colors? And the guy's like, well, no. And he goes, that's all I have to say on the subject. Basically, I tried to get all these guys, and he's a historic level elite coach. And how many one and dones has Michigan State truly ever had with him? 3, maybe. I mean, a lot of those guys weren't even projected to be one and dones. They just happened to be extremely talented because they don't play those games. And Beeline didn't either. And I loved Beeline. I loved the rivalry that Michigan State just have built over the last 6-7 years. It's been amazing.
No, I agree. And Michigan's kind of in that same light. I mean, they had Mitch McGarry, who was done after his second year. State had like Zach Randolph way back in the day, but for the most part, these guys are above board. They're not recruiting the guys they know are going to be one and dones. These blue chip, McDonald's All-American guys.
They're not going to waste their time because they're not going to get them.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And if that's the thing, if you're left until the very end and you're saying, all right, you've got a scholarship with us, you're trying to hold that scholarship open. If you recruit another guy and he commits, then you're out on that top level guy anyway. It's just a tough line to walk, and I think
it's hard. Yeah, I was just talking. So I worked Lansing today, selling beer in East Lansing today, and I was riding with a true green Spartan fan, and which I am too. But we were talking about that very thing, and we're like, with the talent that Izzo has shown as a in-game commander, where he can change his game plan and adapt to his shortcomings in each instance. Like, what could that guy have done in his career with just 3 or 4, maybe every 4th year, just one of these superstar one and done guys? I mean, the guy would have had at least another 2 or 3 rings with the teams that he put together with a talent like a Zion Williamson. But when he's had that kind of talent, he hasn't done great with it because he's never really had it. So he forces this team above everything else attitude, which has done him well, but it doesn't work for these individual superstars. So, I'm glad to see Cassius Winston coming back. It would be interesting to see what he does in another year with them. That's another guy that, tested the water of the NBA draft, realized he probably wasn't going to get drafted, and might as well make another run with the Spartans. So it was just an interesting conversation about some of these coaches and would they have been as great of coaches and if they weren't working for the programs that were willing to spend the money and break all the rules?
Well, I think that starts with the head coach, though. I mean, that's basically the CEO of your basketball program.
Oh yeah, but they don't know anything about it, Adam. I don't know anything. Nothing. I didn't know. I didn't know anything about this 3-bedroom mansion given to the guy's aunt. I didn't know anything about that. That always cracks me up. Yeah, you did.
Right. Your Patinos and your Bill Selfs and your John Calipari's. That's the thing that's always bugged me about college hoops. I love college hoops. I went to probably a dozen Michigan basketball games this year. So I just love the college game, but it's just tough sometimes to completely buy in because it's just not a level playing field. It's not even talking about mid-majors versus major universities, but if you're not willing to go to that level, And I think it starts with Izzo and Beeline in our local cases, right? If they're not willing to ask some of their donors or start those relationships with AAU coaches to get in with these kids when they're 13, 14, 15 years old and start, giving these little several $1,000 handshakes, I don't know. At the end of the day, the game is not a level playing field. I think that's probably what led Beeline to go to the pro game, is that he's 60, mid 60s.
Yeah, he's done what he could in the system. He knew he wasn't going any further. He's probably looking at retiring anyways. One, take the nice NBA paycheck, which probably won't be much bigger than what he's making at Michigan, but then don't have to worry about parents and recruiting and NCAA rules. You can just go coach basketball.
Exactly. And he was like the head of the ethics committee. I think he saw the writing on the wall with Michigan's roster too. A couple of guys, were testing the waters, but were probably gone. I don't know. I don't blame him for doing what he did. He's going to go try and prove himself in the NBA. And if not, hey, you retire and you're a couple $1 million richer for it. You take care of your family for the rest of your life. And the rest of their lives.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love sports like the next guy. I could never be a recruiter and deal with parents and things like that. Just no chance. Like, I could be a coach at the professional level. Yeah. Bring me your guys, check your ego, sure. Recruiting, man, I got all the props in the world to these guys that have recruited for 30 years. Like, that just has got to be a drag.
Oh, it has to be. And I think the guys like Beeline who, they're trying to sell an ethical program, come in, get a good education, you lay the groundwork for your time as a man, right? I think that's playing less and less as we get into this era of guys wanting to be getting paid to play. And again, I think they should be. It's just hard to put that into place as the NCAA, they've stood on this moral high ground for all these years saying the student athletes first. We're not going to pay them.
A sham of a moral high ground. The truth of the matter is they don't want to share the pie.
They've hidden. Yeah, exactly. They've hidden behind this whole thought of them being this morally righteous institute or this governing body, but in reality, they're all out for their own pocketbooks. And
as soon as the Olympics allowed professional athletes in any aspect to go in, we were the last country left. So it's like, give it up, guys. It's a professional sport. Colleges make more than NBA teams. It's time to let the kids something. I'm not saying you got to pay them millions of dollars, but it's fine if you give them a stipend and a nice house to live in while they're there. They're making you millions. It's okay with me if they have a high-end condo area and all the team members get to live in the condo while they're there. It's fine. I don't care. Give it to them. It's fine.
Maybe they have food provided, a nice car to drive, essentially rent while they're in school.
Sure. It's totally fine. So here's another question. Some rumors around the NCAA are another 12 or 24 teams or something getting added to the tournament next year.
I hope not. I think it's too watered down.
It's already watered down, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish they'd do the same thing in football. I wish that they would just make 4 super conferences that had all the major teams, and that you have to play 8 out of your 10 games against the other major teams. Then you can play a couple of charity cases, like when U of M plays Eastern and whatever. And then the top ends of those get the playoff spots, and then the best other teams at large get the playoff spots. It's cute that all these little tiny teams get into the tournament, and I'm not saying they shouldn't. But yeah, I wish they'd clean it up and go back to actual 64. Forget these play-in games, or just get rid of the regular season altogether and just have a 300-team tournament from day one and just go. You lose once, you're out.
I don't know about that last idea, but
well, if it's all about the tournament, then what the hell are we doing the rest of the time? I mean, I'm a diehard Spartan basketball fan, and I can't tell you how many times I watch a regular season game because I don't. I watch when they play U of M, and I watch when they play the Big Ten tournament, but I don't watch when they play the Northwestern. I don't care. It doesn't matter. State's going to make the tournament at least as a 12 seed based on reputation alone. It makes no difference as long as they're above 500 on the year.
Yeah, we might differ on that opinion too, but
yeah, whatever. It's all good. It's all good, my friend. So, did you get through your whiskey yet? You moving on?
Yeah, the whiskey's done. I'm drinking a beer I've had in the fridge for about 4 months.
What's that, man? Why is it so sad and lonely and exiled?
Because it doesn't fit the season very well. Like, at least it should be transitioning to warmer temperatures and nicer days. Hasn't necessarily been the case. Although Monday was nice. Had a little time outside on the lake and stuff. I got a Bel Air Brown, though. It's more of a fall, early winter beer, but I'm drinking it.
I love Bel Air Brown. Yeah, I grew up in Petoskey, and when Shorts opened, they were basically the closest brewery to me, and I got to know Joe Short and the gang pretty well. So they have a very nice place in my heart.
Bel Air Brown's the best brown brewed in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, hi, Mark. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good.
I don't know. I'd put a pretty good word in for my own Edwards Brown and for Bonfire Brown from Saugatuck. Yes, both people I have worked for in the past. But Bonfire Brown has that 5% smoked malt. Man, it makes it like a bonfire. It's delicious.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one, but I do like the Witch's Hat one.
Yeah, Edwards Portly Brown.
You have to say that, Mark.
No, he doesn't. He's pretty brutal honest.
Yeah.
He's pretty brutally honest.
All right, I believe you.
That's fine. That's fine. Mark, do you have a beer? Do you got more lazy hiker beer? What you got over there?
I went with Currahee Lucky Scars Hazy IPA. It's got a devil skull in the front. Mash paddle. This is the first time I've had it in cans. I usually get it on tap. Not bad.
Did you listen into the show at all?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was very sad to see Beeline leave. I was really hoping he would be a lifer like at Michigan like Izzo is at State. You know what I mean?
I'm with you as a soon-to-be second season ticket season holder. I'm very saddened by the loss. I think it's going to put a damper on the program for a couple of years, but I'm not upset about the Juwan Howard hire. I think he could definitely have some upside here in the next 5 years or so. I think he could be.
So for me, like I understand Michigan has always had an obsession with having Michigan people, right? But still, with the FBI investigating NCAA and things coming the way it is, and I know that Juwan Howard was not the one busted doing anything wrong, but I don't know, man. Like for me, I get it, I love it. Maybe you bring him in as an assistant to start, but putting the program in the hands of somebody that even their name is attached to one of these controversies for me is kind of not the direction I would go.
Don't you think 20 years down the road they're separated enough from that whole controversy they can move on and make the best time?
No, because people still talk about it all the time.
They're always going to talk about it. I mean, the Fab Five was one of the most famous college teams of all time, and it ended in scandal, I guess, years after the fact, but you're not going to avoid them talking about it. Juwan's not going to come in as an assistant when he's already an assistant in the NBA.
All right.
And being talked about for a head job.
Sure. I mean, I get it. I just don't know. Until they change some things around in the NCAA, as long as there's still investigations going on, I'm kind of leaving it alone. And not like I don't think Juwan Howard's a bad guy by any means. I mean, I don't think Weber did anything wrong. I think they should have given him and his mom, I don't care. Was it personal chef or whatever they busted him for? I don't even remember what it was now. But
something dumb.
Yeah, who cares? Like we've talked about the whole time. Who gives a hoot? So, Mark, you want me to save you one of these double New England IPA gummy bear beers?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a strange animal. It's a glass full of sugar. So, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, I'll save you one. I'll pour it for you in your Szechuan sauce cup.
Yeah. Now, do you think Beeline's going to be any good at the NBA? He seemed like he's like a young person coach, I don't know if that'll translate to the NBA where you don't really coach. You just kind of manage.
I don't know. Not with that roster. That roster's a business.
Well, that's the other problem is he's inheriting just crap-ass players.
I mean, I think if he had 5 years to build a culture and get the guys he wanted to in the draft, and he had some say-so on that, and he lucked out with a couple of lottery picks that worked out really well. Yeah, I mean, I think his